Welcome to Glitch Please, the show where we talk about video games every week. I'm Ashley.
I'm Gus.
I'm Adam.
I'm Brian.
We did that flawlessly. Just want to point that out. And this episode is brought to you by Skillshare. We'll talk more about them in a little bit, but thanks guys very much for sponsoring this episode of Glitch Please. We are now officially in the back half of 2017.
Oh crap, we are.
2018, oh my God.
We're in the triple back half of 2017.
Yeah,
or
the
quadruple back half.
Quadruple. Thank you. I appreciate the save.
Yeah. I got you.
So it's crazy to think that like we're now like it's last half of the year.
We're closer to 2019 than the beginning of 2018.
I feel like as I get older, time goes faster.
That's what happens.
It goes
God,
way faster.
what the fuck?
Wait till you get on my level.
I didn't
God damn.
believe anyone when they were like, just wait, time will fly by. And I was like, are you kidding? This is take forever. And now just months will go by and I'm like, wait, when did that happen?
Starfield comes out tomorrow.
1 through 18 was like forever. And I've been 10 years since then, and it's gone by like that. It's really cool. It sucks. I'm old now. Welcome to old.
Yeah. Well,
You're the only one here in your 20s. Shut up.
I look like I'm in my 40s.
So we are just getting back from our 4th of July break. What have you guys been playing over the last
okay.
week?
I feel like I should correct myself.
Oh yeah.
Okay.
What's up, Mario Tennis?
Mario Tennis has tennis in it.
Okay. Where is the tennis?
If you go to tournaments, you can set up computer tournaments and play against computer players that way. It's actually kind of fun. But that being said, I still stand by, it's not a great
So
game.
you can play
You can play tennis.
against bots
Okay.
as well.
Yes.
Great.
So last week, your level of vitriol was like here. Are we saying it's like down to like
Yeah,
here,
there.
where
It's
it's
still-
less like rage and more just vague disappointment.
Yeah,
and not being a great
disappointment. The
game?
story mode is still trash.
Okay.
But there is the ability to play the game kind of the way I wish I could play it, but not 100%.
So how much have you been playing it?
Not a ton. I played I played several tournaments just to kind of get it going because, and the reason was I kind of put it down to pick up Mario Rabbids Donkey Kong
Oh, fuck.
expansion, whatever it is. I
Yeah.
can't remember what it's called. It's
Did you
like
forget
such a
that
long
came
name.
out?
Yeah.
Mario.
Yeah, I want to play that game.
Yeah, me too.
I'm still stuck on some part of the
Mario
fourth
plus
world
Rabbids
thing.
Kingdom Battle Donkey Kong Adventure.
Well,
Is that it? So is that there's not more?
That's the name.
Okay.
they're very specific too. They're like, no, it is Mario plus Rabbids.
Oh yeah.
It's like
yeah.
their version of fighting games where it's like Street Fighter Cross Tekken or.
They're very specific. Like it's Mario plus Rabbids Kingdom Battle. Like I think when we had them on, we're like Mario and Rabbids. Like no. Mario plus Rabbids Kingdom Battle.
Yeah, they're very, very specific. I'm sure it's a, I don't know, trademark,
Yep.
something or other. So that's the only way they'll refer to
So
it.
that game's pretty fun. I've been playing quite a bit of that.
How do you like the new characters?
It's, it's more of the same essentially. The new characters have some slightly different mechanics, but for the most part, it's exactly the same thing you're used to. It's a little frustrating for me because, one of the characters you play is Rabbid Peach, who's one of the characters you play in the original story, but when the DLC starts, they take away all of the weapons that I had for her in the first game.
Oh, come on.
Yeah, like, I have to start over with a shitty gun and then start upgrading it
Yeah.
again. So it's like, that's really my biggest pain point.
That
I
is
think, with
kind
that
of
game.
a bummer because it also on top of that you're only playing the 3 characters in the DLC. You can't swap between your new characters,
Correct.
right? Or your old characters.
Correct.
So who are you playing? You're playing Donkey Kong, Rabbid Peach, and who else? Cranky.
Yeah, Cranky.
But is
Cranky
it
Rabbid?
Cranky or Rabid Cranky?
It's Cranky. Rabbid Cranky. Rabbid
Okay,
Cranky.
yeah, because that's in the trailer. It's
Yeah.
Rabid Cranky, which I love the look of all the Rabbids characters.
Yeah, it's great. Yeah, he modifies I don't remember what it's called, that little robot, that Roomba-looking robot that leads you around. He modifies it into like a little unicycle and he rides it around.
How
That's
are,
it. He's not
how are
very
the
mobile.
new abilities and weapons and stuff?
It's good. The Donkey Kong one takes, which you just saw in the trailer there, the Donkey Kong one takes a little getting used to because he throws a banana like a boomerang, so it's not like you're just targeting one enemy. You're trying to get to where you can hit multiple enemies in the arc of the banana, since it goes out and then it kind of comes back. So that takes a little getting used to, and then he also has a kind of like, I don't know what you would call it, an ability to kind of pull enemies towards him. So that's great because then he has like a little AoE he can do around. So it's about kind of either angling to get multiple enemies or getting in the middle and bringing them all in for AoE.
Cool.
So that's a little different. Gramps plays pretty straightforward. Or not Gramps, Cranky. I don't know why I said Gramps. Cranky plays pretty straightforward, and Rabbid Peach is, identical to what she was like in the original.
How's the meta layer like when you're walking around? I know there was like different abilities you can unlock in the main game. How has that stuff changed?
I'm still working on that, so I can't speak to it entirely. But it's the same thing where there's like you're walking around the map and there's parts you can see but you can't access because you don't have the ability to destroy something or get around something.
Right.
So then as you're playing the game, you unlock more abilities and then just keep working your way. So it's kind of the same thing where you go through an area, you see a bunch of stuff you can't do, go through one area you can do, unlock something, come back, do, unlock a different area, go there, and then ultimately you're trying to get to the store. Well, what I'm trying to do right now is I'm trying to get to this door that requires 2 keys.
Gotcha. And how much is it and how long do they say it was?
I believe it's $14.99. I could be wrong about that because
that's not bad.
I have the season pass.
Fact checker, what's the price?
Oh, I don't like that.
Dude, by the way, who did this? Who set that up?
That's not Kirby's voice, though.
Is that our new computer voice? Anyway, we'll look it up right now since Kirby's not being terribly helpful.
Well, anyway,
I
believe it was $14.99, but if you had the season pass, I think was $20, but that included some other stuff for the base game as well.
Gotcha. Cool.
Did you do all the super hard challenges in
didn't.
the game? Like,
So-
when you have to do that weird, like, Tron-like level or something?
Yeah, I have not, but I think I'm going to do it now that I'm back into the game because I had kind of put it down
Right.
and hadn't gotten back to it, but now it's like kind of what I'm into. So
Yeah.
I think I'm going to finish the DLC and then probably go back and do all the
Those are
challenges.
hard, dude. I tried the
yeah.
first couple, and I was like, this is crazy.
Yeah.
Well, hopefully, no. I just got to get back in. I got to train and get my
Yeah.
skills back up to par in order to be able to do them. Yeah, I suck. Like when I first started, I was like, oh yeah, the game's fairly simple, but I forgot really how to approach it.
It's the eternal risk of putting something down. Is you get the nice break, you come back and you're really excited about it, and immediately realize that you've forgotten how to play, and you're also probably at that point in the game where it expects you to know everything.
Yeah.
And so then you're just, then it's just too easy to put back down again.
Yeah.
I have had that a lot because I do have a bad habit of stopping games right before the end.
Yep.
So that way it's not over. And then eventually I'll be like, all right, I'm ready. And I'll go back to play it. And then I'll be like, wait, I forgot. I don't know what I'm doing. All right, time to restart, I guess. And then play the whole thing over again. Not great. So how about you, Adam? What have you been playing?
That's my name, Adam. Yes.
Well, I was trying to decide if I should go new guy Brian.
I could see the indecision.
Yeah. I was like, do we go?
Right.
I've been playing quite a bit of games I bought on the Steam sale. A lot of VR. I continued to play Sprint Vector and a lot of Spark, that like ball Disc of Tron game. By the way, I found that I have a video of the kid who I beat and him hanging his head in.
Did you bring that
have
in?
the video?
I forgot to. I will
Go
bring it in.
home right now.
Bring it in. But yeah, no, that game is great. I'm so thankful Steam has a refund feature because there's so many games I bought on the Steam sale that I thought, yeah, I'll like this. And man, I do not like them. The Surge, that seemed like it should be right up my alley. It's similar to Dark Souls. It's like sci-fi and it's exosuits, but it is just not for me. It's a little clunky. What else have I been playing? God, I can't. It's been mostly just playing those same few VR games for working out.
How's your VR fitness regimen going?
It's really fucking fun. It's like at some point I'm gonna have to, like, I still do the gym in the morning, but I think when I get bored of the games I'm currently playing, I might just move on to like a fitness class. I think having other people around motivating you is the thing, and not just the video game part of it. But I'm having a lot of fun. But that's pretty much it. Just been playing some VR games. Played a little Jurassic World Evolution. Yeah, mostly VR, which I'm happy about because I had not been. Like, for the majority of my VR lifespan, I had not really touched that thing a lot. And
It had been, well, and you were really excited too. I remember you and Gus and Ryan in particular, like you three were so excited about the concept of VR. And then
I was a
it just
VR
hasn't
enthusiast.
Yeah.
And but the pain in the ass level of it to like, I have to like break down my room to get it set up. And I think what changed was I was like, hey, Grace, this room is going to be demolished. I'm moving out the bed. It will be my VR room until we move into our house. And
Your VR lair.
yeah, like I just want to play Beat Saber and all that without any setup time. So that has helped. But like, I think that was the problem, was like setting everything up, getting into a headset, and like having to physically exercise a little bit to play a game was kind of like a hurdle to leap over. Reminds me, I did also play a lot of Beat Saber.
Speaking of hurdles,
Custom songs in Beat Saber are so good. They're doing things that like I didn't expect. Like, okay, for example, in you can play Beat It by Michael Jackson, and they'll make you do like the woo, where you like raise your hands in the air and shit like that, or like they'll make you move back and forth as like the obstacles hit you, like to like move with the music. Like they're doing stuff that they didn't do in the main game that is really clever. And if you haven't modded Beat Saber, I encourage you to do that because there's a lot of fun songs to play. And it's mainly like 90s or like any songs that resonated with nerd culture, like any Daft Punk or the Pirates of the Caribbean theme song or like the Halo theme song or shit like that. It's all like nerdy music that you might have listened to when you were 15.
you know what I feel like would be a lot of fun in that too is if they get some Lonely Island going. Lonely Island,
Yeah.
like just being ridiculous
On a
Yep.
boat.
on a
something-
boat
Yep.
in
Dick
Beat
in a
Saber.
box.
Come on,
Yep.
come on.
A
Absolutely.
virtual dick in a virtual box.
Absolutely.
Right, like, how do they get the gesture? You know what? I'll move on from that. How about you, Brian? What have you been playing?
I just finished up God of War, which was a lot of fun. Also, as a parent, like it's kind of had a different level. Like his relationship with the kid, I thought was really interesting.
Are you a parent?
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
Yeah.
And Brian's got a new baby.
Yeah. I know. Thank you. Yeah, it's but he doesn't have to deal with like real things. Like they just have to survive. Like
He's not changing diapers.
yeah, he doesn't have to
He doesn't
change
have to
diapers.
fight like waves of enemies or anything.
What is this unrealistic dad game bullshit?
Yeah, he doesn't have to worry about where Atreus is going to college, like any of that shit. But it was a lot of fun. I don't know if I want to do the post game because I ran into one of the Valkyries afterwards, and she just handed my ass to me. So I don't. It's one of those things, like also when you have kids, I don't give a shit about post-game content anymore. Like if I see credits, I'm done with the game. And so that was, but it was great, super fun, probably my favorite game of the year. And then I just finished up a long-time goal, which was beating Dragon Quest VII, which...
I saw you tweet about that.
Yeah, I tweeted that I'm the first American to ever beat it, which I think is probably true. But it's like the main campaign's like 100 hours. It's
Holy
insanely long. I love Dragon Quest, but it was a lot of fucking Dragon.
There was a lot of Dragon Quest.
Yes.
So even as a parent, you're still able to play 100-hour campaigns, even though it takes a while.
On portable, yes.
Portable,
I could
gotcha.
not lock down the living room for that.
So you're
long.
digging the
Then you're a
Switch?
monster. Yeah. Oh, absolutely. The Switch is made for parents.
Yeah.
Absolutely. You can hold it while the kid's watching something on TV. I want everything on the Switch for that reason. Yeah.
Oh yeah, you aren't
Do you
kidding.
guys-
That is a long game.
Are you guys going to be
What's
getting
the
into?
sin?
So it's Dragon Quest VII is the same as Dragon Warrior 7, I
Yep,
think.
yep.
Main story 104 hours.
Yeah.
Completion is 257 hours.
No thanks.
Yeah,
That
it
is-
is.
wow.
And they haven't changed the battle mechanics since the 80s, so it's still very turn-based. They don't really iterate it at all, so you have to really enjoy like a grinding RPG. Yeah, and it is. You have to go back in time and constantly like fix what was going on in the past worlds, and then once you do, little islands will pop up in the current world. So you're literally world building, but it's like they're little. Each one is like a little mini game in itself. They're different scenarios, they're different problems you have to fix. It's really fun and really well done, but it is long.
So, how long have you been playing it?
At least 2 years. What? Speaking of that, I put it down, for like a solid year.
Oh,
and then
okay.
I came back to it. I had no idea where I was.
God.
I had to get on GameFAQs and remind myself where I was. And then but you know how the momentum kind of builds up, and
Yeah.
then eventually I, just powered through.
I'm glad you didn't have to restart, dude.
I would have thrown the game away before I restarted.
Yeah, I wondered what got you picking it back up because since this is on 3DS.
Yeah.
I don't know about you, but there are a lot of games that I'm like I would like to, I'd like to play this again, whatever, fantasy-like,
Yeah.
something like that.
Yep.
But I've got to put a limit on how many consoles I carry around at any given time.
Yes, yes.
I've usually got my Vita, so I got my PlayStation handheld
Right.
covered, and then I take the Switch. So I'm basically choosing between the Switch and the 3DS,
Yep.
and the 3DS loses out.
Right.
So it's it's in a backpack somewhere. I've got it. If on some rainy day on an airplane somewhere, I run out of power on absolutely everything else that I have.
You've got that.
I've got that.
It's like your
And that's-
throwdown piece.
And that's basically what the 3DS has become, which is a tragedy because I love the 3DS and
Yep.
I love a lot of the games on the 3DS.
Right.
It's just that when it comes to choosing between that and Switch, Switch is what I'm playing, and so that's what gets the priority.
It's very dated at this point. Honestly, I don't know if y'all have this experience. I feel guilty if I don't finish a game that I put like a lot into. Something about it just feels unfinished, and so it was always in the back of my mind, like, well, I'll come back to this. And also, Dragon Quest XI is coming out in a few months, so I just kind of wanted to get back into the swing of things. But I agree, like the Switch has almost completely replaced the 3DS for. I mean, the graphics are better. It's just not as dated. But for some games, for JRPGs, the 3DS still has some great stuff.
So you have a little bit of time to finish Dragon Quest 8, 9, 10 before hopping over to 11.
Should be no problem at all.
What's on your guilt list that you haven't completed?
Witcher 3.
Oh yeah, that was on mine for a while,
And
dude.
Grand Theft Auto 5, I still haven't finished. But yeah.
You should play Witcher 3.
Yeah, that's what I always hear. Yeah. Yep, that's
that game.
next up.
Down, Adam.
Yeah,
It had a pretty good deal on Steam sale, I believe.
it's $20 right now. I think it's gonna be $20.
For everything.
Still?
Yeah, I think it's probably gonna end before this podcast ends, but you whip out your phone, you can buy it.
Yeah. I've been playing more Divinity.
Oh
So,
yeah.
this is the game that I've been playing as a 4-player co-op campaign with the family.
Yep.
And it's been a little bit of a surprise because I knew I was going to enjoy it because I played it. We played a little bit of co-op just between the three of us. And
It was fun.
It was fun. And you're a pickpocket thief. And
No, it's not thievery. It's just
What's
asset reallocation.
yeah, sure. So I knew I was going to enjoy it. I figured JD, Bernie's oldest, would enjoy it. He plays Pillars of Eternity as well. He'd played some Divinity, so I knew he was into that kind of game. Bernie, kind of on the fence. He doesn't play a lot of CRPGs, but I figured, he likes doing co-op with the family, so that would be enough for sure. And so the wild card was Teddy. Teddy is the youngest. He's 13. He plays a lot of Gary's Mod, and he's really into Totally Accurate Battlegrounds right now, and he plays a lot of just like crazy, ridiculous, weird stuff. And I wasn't sure he would like something like this, because it's a little more serious in tone. It requires a lot of cooperation. It's all turn-based, needs a lot of patience. He's now our main driver. Every day he's like, we need to play, can we play more Divinity?
You're opening new doors for him, man.
I'm
Expanding his
loving this.
palette, yeah.
Yeah, so we've been making a lot of progress. We try and break it into sessions where we'll go through and we'll get something done each session. We'll go through and we're like, oh, we're clearing out this armory. This session we're just exploring this cave, because it does take a while to get anything done. But I think it bodes well for our future D&D campaign now that we're rolling him into that
That's
style of play.
Yeah.
Dude.
And I think it's gonna go well. I'm really happy about it.
That sort of like, as a kid, discovering new genres of games that you're into, that first game in that genre or like something like that sticks with you for so long.
Yep.
He's gonna remember that game forever.
Yeah, I mean, it's the baseline, right? The first one is
Right.
like everything in the future, like we'd be like, oh, well, I'd be comparing it to this game to Baldur's Gate or something, and he'll be comparing everything to this.
Yep.
It's crazy to think about, but in a good way.
Yeah, dude.
I like
Awesome.
what we've done well.
So
here.
great.
Yeah, so I'm pretty happy about that. Other than that, lots of Luminous before bedtime. That game is just so easy to get into a trance on, but it's also really makes me happy that I remembered, or my muscles or something. There was some cobwebby corner of my brain that remembered how to treat all the different patterns. Like you get in this, because it's a game where there's, it's a falling game Tetris style, but everything falls in blocks of 4. And there's 2 colors, so it can be any combination of those 2 colors. Maybe it's, 3 of one, 1 of the other, and so on. And your goal is to match other colors that are already on the board and get a block of 4, and then it will clear. So it's not trying to get a full line across or anything, just blocks of 4 and it'll clear. And each of the different levels has different music to it, and that also determines different speed of how quickly the blocks fall and how quickly the clear bar goes across. They won't. The thing about the blocks too is there's a timing element to it because they won't clear the second you put together a block. It cues it for a clear, and then when the bar crosses it, then it will finally disappear. And then it will release all the blocks above it. They will fall down and create a new pattern.
Are you trying to make squares? Is that
Yes.
the okay?
Yeah. So you're trying to match everything up, and some of them it can get a little bit tricky as the board gets messier. So remembering how you can optimize the patterns is very, very helpful. Unlike my second playthrough, I think I did better than the high score I ever got on PSP. Just the brain dusted that off, pulled it out, and went, let's use this. I'm glad I kept this around instead of my parents' birthdays.
When are you ever going to need that?
Right?
Yeah.
So, really enjoying that. It's just really nice to pull out for a couple minutes, spend a couple minutes playing. Well, it feels like a couple minutes. I'm sure it's an inappropriately long amount of time, and then put it down and go to sleep with all the music in my head.
Yeah, sometimes I'll look over and you're playing, just like for a little bit, and then back to, and it seems like a perfect kind of game for that.
Yeah, like just a couple minutes here, a couple minutes there. If I'm doing an export on a video and I can't really use my computer anyway, I'll just pull it out in a couple minutes. It's nice.
Nice.
All right, so we do have one other game to talk about. This is the game that we've all been playing for this past week, and that is Jurassic World Evolution. However, before we discuss it, I do want to thank our sponsor, Skillshare, for sponsoring this episode of Glitch Please. Skillshare is an online learning community with thousands of classes in design, business, technology, and more. Seriously, there is some awesome stuff in there. Premium membership gives you unlimited access to high-quality classes on must-know topics so you can improve your skills, unlock new opportunities, and do the work you love. Skillshare believes in accessible learning, and the price reflects that. An annual subscription with unlimited access is less than $10 per month, making it one of the best deals you can find for online education. In particular, I took some of their Premiere editing classes. They've been very, very helpful.
That's helpful.
I sort of self-taught on editing with Premiere, so it was a process of just organic discovery and like, oh God, I need to do this. How can I make this work? And trying to figure things out. Actually taking a class on it, introduced me to a bunch of features that I was like, this would have been really helpful to know. I've been making things way too hard. So really good for stuff like that. Also doing some creative writing classes. They're really fun. They've got some really cool stuff on like typography, logo design, all that. So especially if you want to make your own stuff. If it's like business and design and all that, you can do like end to end to end, and they've got classes in all of it. And they're great for beginners, or if you want to brush up on skills you may already have but have forgotten, they've been off in that dusty cobwebby corner of your brain. You can learn music production, building personal brands, all kinds of stuff. And since Skillshare is sponsoring this episode of Glitch Please, the first 500 people to use the promo link, and we'll put it in the description, will get their first 2 months free to try out, risk-free. So sign up now, receive a 2-month free trial. Go to the link. It's skl.sh/glitch7, also in the description, so it's a little bit easier to click on to start your free trial now. Don't wait, start learning today. First 500 people to sign up get their first 2 months free. It's really handy. And also, hey, if it's free,
why not?
Why not? It's free learning.
Yeah, we said the same
free
thing.
skills. Why not?
Yeah.
All right, let's talk about Jurassic World Evolution.
That's the best part of the game, by the way, is driving the Jeeps.
Okay, so Jurassic World Evolution, this game actually came out last month. It came out during E3, which...
I just looked. The digital version came out June 12th. The physical version was July 3rd.
Yeah, so a little bit weird that way. I'm not sure why they staggered it that way. Maybe they went gold late.
I don't know,
And so they were like, well, we can get it out digitally and then print the discs and
Get it out
kick them
digitally
out the
before
door.
the film.
Right.
Basically,
Yeah. So they're like, we have to get it out somehow. Because it is a tie-in with the new Jurassic World movie, sort of. But sort of not. So the game is developed by Frontier, the people behind the...
Really dangerous.
Are they Elite Dangerous? Oh
They
shit.
make sim games, dude, and Elite Dangerous.
Yeah, I
is
was
a
thinking
sim game.
Roller Coaster Tycoon. I forgot about Elite Dangerous. That's some real breadth.
And cities, right? Cities, is it
City
City Skylines?
Oh, they also did that one? Oh.
Yeah, and then most recently they stopped doing the Roller Coaster Tycoon games under that brand, and they made Planet Coaster.
Gotcha. Totally
That's-
different.
Yeah, well, because Atari continued developing Roller Coaster Tycoon games with a different developer, and then they released Roller Coaster Tycoon World and Planet Coaster
Totally
up against each
different.
other. Right, but Planet Coaster smashed it because, hey, it's Frontier, and they've been doing this for a very long time, and they're very good at it. So in this case, they're doing a license deal with Jurassic World to do basically Roller Coaster Tycoon except dinosaurs, which is always fun. So in this one, the idea is to create your own Jurassic Park. There is a series of 5 islands. You start off on Isla Matansar, whatever. You start on one of the islands. It's like simple, and then as you get used to it, they let you go onto an additional island. Then you're basically starting over and creating a park there, but you get additional challenges, like the weather will be more extreme, or I don't know, you get like the dinosaurs will all try and get out. The second island, for example, is extreme weather. So you have to deal with power outages, and you have to build shelters so that people can go in during the crazy weather, that kind of thing.
Doesn't sound like a great place for a park.
It's
Yeah,
also
but it sounds like a
the-
great place
the-
for a dinosaur.
The islands are called the Isles of Death.
Yeah, it's
Oh.
real,
Yeah.
real on
Oh, we
brand.
couldn't
They're
pick a
like the
different fucking
Islas de
place.
Muertos or something.
Yeah.
But
That doesn't sound very inviting for tourists.
Yeah.
no, not really. But I guess if you're going to see giant killer things, then it's sort of on
sells it.
brand.
All right.
Yeah, yeah. How do you feel about sim games and like sim management games in general?
I love them. I did a bad. I didn't look at the notes for this, so I didn't know we had to play this game, so I didn't play this game. My bad.
Gus.
So I didn't look at the notes. It's down there. But for the most part, I really like sim-style management games. I think back in the day, I played all the Maxis ones. I played City Skylines, and there's something really satisfying about simulation and building games.
Yeah, I like seeing something that start from nothing and then build it up into something. I always like that, especially the more successful you make it and you're like, I've done this. I have created life. Good life, not just
Jurassic
regular
life.
life. Jurassic life. So, all right, well, if you haven't played it, you get to be the person who asks questions that for other people who haven't played it. How about
Do
that?
you get to make a T-Rex?
Yes.
Is that not a given?
Of course you make a team.
How quickly
Yeah,
do
oh
you
yeah.
make a T-Rex? Is that like the
Not
first thing you can
super
make?
quickly,
Wow.
no. It starts you off mostly with herbivores.
Okay.
And,
Lame.
Oh, come on. You
can
get
get some carnivores pretty
Triceratops.
quick.
So the process goes, you can send out dig teams, and they will go out to different archaeological sites, and they will bring back fragments of fossils.
Okay, so is that what we saw, like the world map before, and they showed like the United States and
Yeah.
stuff? Okay.
Yeah. So then there's these different sites, and they will. At first, you're restricted to a couple sites, and then as you open up more islands, then you also get access to more dig sites, which will then give you access to more varied types of fossils.
So was the business plan here to open the park first and then discover fossils to make dinosaurs?
Yes.
That seems backwards.
Nah, it's fine. It's
Well,
fine. You start off with like one.
What is it called?
Oh.
The Stressosaurus.
The Stressosaurus.
A little cute
Stressatosaurus?
one.
Yeah.
Is it-
Stressosaurus?
No,
not
it's
really
a stress.
okay.
They're long, and it starts with looking like something like Strauss, and they're little,
It's
and
some
they're
mess.
the little super social herbivores, and they're cute, and they don't live very long.
Yeah.
It's
Like
sad
hamsters
when
of
they
the
die.
dinosaur life.
And so you start off with those. So you can breed up a couple, get them in your enclosure, and then once you start attracting tourists in with those ones, funds start coming in. Then you can fund expeditions and new buildings.
Grow from there.
And grow from there. So yeah, you start off with that. The next one that I unlocked was the Triceratops.
Yeah, was that your first mission? Was to get a 50% Triceratops genome?
I think so.
Yeah, okay. I think those missions are randomized, but I think the first one may be the same. That was kind of like, I'm not a sim guy. Okay. Certain types of sims I'm not into, because I like Elite. It's a space sim, but it's not. It's
a great game.
This is a management
This is management sim.
So when you do this mission, I'm still you're still in the tutorial phase, so I didn't really know what to do. So it's like, do this mission, get a genome. So like, okay. So you send someone out on a dig, and it takes about a minute. And they come back, and they're like, okay, we got you one Triceratops fossil. And it's like, well, that's not quite enough. You got to do it again. So then it's like, all right, you're just waiting. Like, I don't know what I'm doing yet. So like, all I was doing was watching this thing. Like, they're almost back. They're just digging. All right, they'll be back soon. And they came back, and it's like, okay, you have just enough. It's great.
So you have to send them twice?
Yeah, it's like
well,
just
a couple
kind of like
times.
like here's how to wait for. But like, I'm sure once you get once you get further, you're like, okay, you do this, then you go do some other shit. But like at first, it's kind of like a rough introduction to the game.
Yeah.
Because I guess there's no other tasks going on. You're
Right.
just sitting there waiting.
It does feel slow at first. I mean, I ended up, like, I'd back out and I would check on my little dinosaurs.
There's your mission.
And you can,
50% Triceratops.
yep, there you go. And you can check their, like, how happy each dinosaur is. They all have their own preferences. So different dinosaurs will have different social requirements. So some of them might need a couple of their own kind in order to get like their social needs met, and they also have like they're like, I want this much grassland, I want this much forest, obviously need access to water and so on. And so you try and get all of their bars in they're a range usually, but try and get all their needs met. So I was very much about like terraforming, and I had one mission where it was like, take a picture of a thing of a Ceratosaurus or whatever, the first meat eater you get drinking, and I was like, all right, well, that's pretty specific, because you have to, in order to do that, send a ranger team out, and then you can take a photo. And so I had to terraform his area to have no water until he got thirsty, send a ranger team over, terraform water so he would come over to it, switch back to the rangers, and then take the picture. So there is a lot of switching around you can do while you're waiting for other stuff, if you want to.
You took control of the Rangers and actually took the photo yourself?
Yeah.
Okay, so it's not just like a top-down overhead view.
That to
There
me
are a
is
couple
the best part of
different
the game is you can go down and drive the Jeep, and then you can like shoot things with darts.
Yes, that
It's
was
super fun. I did that, and I'm like, well, I just kind of want to explore the island in my Jeep, but I haven't built the island
Are they
out yet.
poison darts or like sleep darts?
Like
Slick
trank
To like,
darts.
oh, you have a sick dinosaur, you shoot it to go help it. You shoot dinosaurs to help them.
Okay.
As, of course, as
But
tradition.
it's cool that you can get down that granular and drive around a truck.
Yeah, although the graphics, once you get down that granular, are not amazing. It is made with distance in mind. So you get down, it's like they're serviceable.
Right.
Yeah.
But the priority was definitely zoomed out.
I think in general the game looks pretty good, especially from that top-down view.
Agreed.
Like it's pleasant to look at. The colors are nice.
What platforms were y'all playing on?
PC.
PC.
I think it's only on.
PS4. No, I was playing PS4.
Oh, it is on PS4. Okay.
Yeah.
How are the controls with the controller?
They were a little awkward. There was a lot of just sort of menus, and it would clearly work better on a PC. But I did like talking about the graphics, how you could start off overhead and then zoom down and get just right in there with the dinosaurs. Like, the graphics weren't fantastic, but I thought they were serviceable. I definitely had a lot of like waiting around at the beginning. I had that same experience, but I also like watching progress bars. Like, it's sort of relaxing. And if you like watching progress bars, this game is for you. It really is fantastic.
You want to like have two computers, one of them like rendering out files in Premiere, the other one with progress bars in Jurassic World Evolution.
It's just very relaxing, yeah.
Yeah, it is kind of a slow start, but I'd argue that's the case with a lot of management sims. It does seem to be a trick of the genre. They are introducing a lot of systems because they're like, here's your digs, here's this, you need to manage this. Also, you need to incubate this. While you have someone out on a dig site, you can be researching the fossils they brought back from the last one. Sometimes I did find myself, oddly enough, not on the first island, but on the second island, found myself early on having to just wait for money generation.
Yes,
because the very first island, you start off with $2 million to work with.
$2 million for a giant theme park that you have to make dinosaurs at. $2 million.
Right. And it's, so it's not, but it also, you're starting with dinosaurs that cost you, what, like
$30,000 is the first one,
to incubate?
It's reasonable.
And then
Those little
but also
stratosaurs are pretty cheap.
to extract fossils, it's like, $250,000. I can do that 8 times.
It is not.
It is.
No, to
It
extract
is.
a fossil is like 20,000.
I think my Triceratops cost me a lot of fucking money.
Well, it did to incubate.
No, to get out of the goddamn fossil.
Well, maybe if you're, what? No, if you're trying to, I mean, are you talking about like all up? Because
Maybe.
you do
I
have
remember
to
spending
To
like
get to
a lot
100, to get to 100% would be a lot, but
I
you
remember
can
spending a lot of
incubate
money on pulling shit out of fossils and being
Yeah.
like, wow, this is expensive and I'm running
mean,
out of money.
I did as well, but that was to get my Triceratops to 100% viability. Once you pass 50% viability, you can
You can
incubate them.
them, but there's a failure rate.
Yeah.
Is that what the percentage is? 50%?
Wow.
No, I'd say it's more than 50% chance of success. It's just that 50% is the minimum viability to incubate it.
It is weird that to make like the cheapest dinosaur, it's about the price of a new car.
That's what I was thinking. I was like-
yeah, that seems fucked up.
I was thinking in car terms.
Do you have to deal with espionage? I didn't get to any of that. Like, is that helicopter actually a spy trying to steal your dinosaurs?
There are a couple of different types of events that can happen. Starting on the first island, where it's all pretty basic, really the biggest thing you're going to have to worry about is one, a dinosaur escaping its enclosure, because maybe a fence will break and one will go wandering off somewhere. In my case, it was an herbivore, so it was just really confused. It was just like panicked and running around. And so I had to call in a helicopter to tranquilize it and then transport it back into the enclosure and have the rangers fix the fence.
Those enclosures are way too small for such big animals.
Right.
They deserve such a bigger space to walk around in.
Oh, are they going to fight? Do the dinosaurs ever fight?
If they're different kinds of dinosaurs.
My dinosaurs haven't really fought. However,
carnivores are
I
the
also
herbivores.
was, from my first island, made separate enclosures for my carnivores and my herbivores.
Yes.
I was not going to mix them. Brian, you mixed them.
I kept them together. I had to
How did
restart.
that work?
we wanted to see what would happen.
It did, yeah.
I can tell you exactly what happened.
I spent money like a drunken sailor. I just made as many dinosaurs as possible. They were mostly herbivores, but then I made a carnivore, and I think he was like, grass-fed meat, and started killing people. Then they got a cold, which apparently kills dinosaurs, so I just wiped out my whole population, but I didn't have any money left, like you said. So, like, I'm losing money. I'm sending my goddamn dig team out, but they're, like, coming up with, like, shitty fossils. So it's like I could never get ahead, so I just finally had to restart my career.
So that was the other thing, is you spent your entire budget on dinosaurs.
Yeah, we had to
and
bring
you didn't
people
build,
in.
You didn't build a ranger station.
Nope.
And you didn't build the
ACU station with, like, the
ACU.
helicopter. No, so I just had a bunch of diseased, sick, angry dinosaurs who eventually died, and my business ultimately failed, which I feel like is how that would work in real life.
I think
if somebody put me in charge.
I think that people would go to your park to see animals get eaten.
Yeah,
That's true. Yeah.
I think that would
That's like
still.
a natural
I
habitat.
wouldn't like that, but I think people in general would go to that park.
I mean,
Would go
yeah,
to the
all
park
the
to- oh, you mean to see the meat eaters eat the herbivores?
yeah, I mean, all the zoos do that these days, right? They put the tigers in with the monkeys, and like whatever, just let them.
tigers do not eat monkeys. Have you seen the videos of monkeys fucking with tigers?
No, I have
They like
not.
run up and they pull their tail and they run away. They're like, ha ha ha, I'm a monkey.
Is that like a whole
It's
genre
so
of
great.
video? I need to find
There's at
this.
least two
Wow.
that I've seen.
Look, two counts as a genre.
It
Yeah,
does.
absolutely.
I will say that I was expecting, I guess, and this does, once you start opening up other islands, this does change. But I did find myself sitting on the first island for a while
Yes.
because I made sure I researched absolutely everything that I could. And in order to unlock new islands, you have to basically do missions for the different departments. And I don't like all the departments. So you had to do a mission for each. So to get from the first to the second, you have to do a mission for the security team, which, by the way, should not be called that. It should be called the, like, let's take some fucking risks team. There's the entertainment team and the science team.
Yeah, I like how the security team, like, one of your first missions is, let's intentionally create a breach in the fence so the dinosaur runs amok with visitors there. This is not like a controlled environment, but just to test all our protocols.
Yeah, like, let's just see how it goes.
Yeah, like, people are gonna die from this. Like, there's no getting around.
They signed a waiver.
Yeah, I was
all right.
lucky in that I think it was just one of the dinosaurs happened to find a breach. I wasn't actively working on
nice.
that one, and then it just got a breach, and it was the herbivore running around pretty much okay.
You got lucky. Your fences were just naturally shitty. And
Yeah,
so
yeah, pretty much. And so I fixed it, got him back in. That was all fine, no big deal. And then I was like, who the shit is this guy? Like,
Yeah.
I'm not doing anything for security anymore. Let's
He's
just go zero on
He's
that
a
person.
maniac.
Yeah,
like
he's
I
crazy.
feel like he's a plant to try to fuck things up for the rest
That
of
would
the
be
game.
Corporate
canon. That would be
espionage.
Yeah,
canon
exactly.
with Jurassic
That's
Park,
true,
though,
yeah.
because that's what the whole thing was with Newman. He was selling dino eggs.
not
Oh,
Newman.
Newman.
That's well, I'm gonna call him Newman.
Whatever, it's Newman. He was just undercover.
Yeah.
They also, you get a lot of Jeff Goldblum in this game.
Yeah,
And
real,
you know
real Jeff
what?
Goldblum.
And unnecessary.
They're
If
trying to
I
get
may
their
say
money's
so,
worth.
I felt like, first of all, that was it sounded very phoned in to me.
Yes.
It's not like he went and he read the lines. And,
I wonder
and
if-
to give him
if-
some credit, the lines weren't all great. So I think there's some that he did what he could with, but he didn't sound enthused to
But
me.
his energy level is like a 1. He's like reading it from his trailer.
Yeah, but do you really think that Jeff Goldblum cares about being in a video? At least he was in it.
Fuck.
It was
yeah.
probably,
like-
it's probably in the movie contract or something, like, we're going to do these tie-in things and
Yep.
you have to do them.
Yep.
Because they did, they also have the other characters. There's Claire Dearing, the redhead.
Yep.
And
That's not her though. Like it's not.
No.
It's not
Who,
the-
who is the actress?
I don't know.
Bryce Dallas Howard.
Bryce Dallas Howard. Yeah.
And Chris Pratt.
Chris Pratt.
That's not
I'm
Chris
sure his
Pratt's
character
voice,
has
though.
a name as well. I think it is.
Okay, all right.
Really?
I couldn't tell.
I don't
didn't
know. I don't think it is.
I'm going to look this up right now.
Includes voice acting from Jeff Goldblum, Bryce Dallas Howard, and B.D. Wong.
So no Chris Pratt.
So no
That's
Chris
a big no, because
I
they
was
would put
wrong.
that up there.
They would put that up there. But yeah, they have their VOs to basically like bring it into the whole Jurassic World movie tie-in
Yeah.
thing, and
Yep.
I was like, you know what? I don't need it. I'm like
No.
the game is fine without this, and honestly, you're just kind of slowing me down.
Yeah, it's kind of like the problem with sports games. Like the announcing after a while just gets on your nerves, or they say the same shit over and over. It didn't feel like it added anything. I want to get in there and like fuck with dinosaurs. I don't need Jeff Goldblum telling me like that's immoral or whatever.
You don't need that judgment.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Fuck off, Dr. Ian Malcolm.
All right,
Your
so
island.
Owen Grady is voiced in the game by AJ Lucascio. Lucascio?
We love you, AJ. You did a great job.
Yeah.
This is a
I-
big
look,
credit for him.
I respect your hustle. Well, I don't know. He was Voltron. He was Marty Fly in Back to the Future,
Dawn
the
of the
video game.
Croods.
Yeah, he was in Dawn of the Croods. So, hey,
He's a better IMDb than any of us.
Yes,
Yeah.
by far.
yes. So all respect there. I did think it was Chris Pratt.
Yeah.
So
it
I was
close.
wrong.
Yeah.
So you did a good job. You got me.
I like how he big timed him. Like, no, I'm gonna pass on this. But everyone else had to.
He's like, no. I got to go work on my abs.
Yeah, I'm sorry.
So yeah, that's the main thing. It's just the tie-in. It consists almost entirely of just like little VOs with their pictures up in the corner, being like, "I don't like this guy,"
Right.
or "I think it's important for us to have healthy environments for all dinosaurs." I'm like, buzz off.
So do you?
I'm busy listening to 3 groups that hate each other trying to make a park work, and they're all kind of the worst.
Do you recommend this game at $55? It's $5 short of a full price game, but it's basically full price.
I mean, it's a sim game, so if you like this kind of game, I think it's a lot of fun. If you
think
are
it
on the
has enough
fence about the genre, well, here's the thing: is it feels like there's not a whole lot going on the first island, but it is introducing you to systems. And as you get the additional islands, and there are a lot more challenges as well to manage to the environments, and there's a lot more events that can happen, it does get more chaotic. But I could see how if you're just playing through the first island, which is, it's a couple of hours to get through all that stuff, that you'd be like, is this all there is to it? But then you start getting like, oh God, and storm warnings, and you're opening your emergency shelters, and you're trying to make sure that all of your buildings are covered by this different storm protection buildings, and you're researching new ways to make sure your power doesn't go out, so your crazy meeting dinosaurs don't go on a rampage. There gets a lot more to it. I like it.
I think there is part of me likes the tycoon games a little more because you can build such crazy things. Like you can build crazy roller coasters and things like that.
Yeah.
I missed that.
I do feel like
There's not a lot of although there are dinosaurs, it doesn't feel as over the top.
Can you make hybrid dinosaurs?
You can
you
modify
can
their
start to modify them,
genomes.
yeah.
Okay.
So you can some of the first ones you get are colors. So you can be like, oh, we researched some trees, and now you can make green and gray dinosaurs.
that sounds
Or
nice.
we know we researched sharks, and so based on using this bit of the shark genome, they'll be resistant to disease, and so on. And so there's all these different modifications you can do. Each modification lowers the viability, so it creates a higher potential for failure in that in the incubation. So there is a risk element to it.
I want like a Tyrannosaurus, but with like a Brontosaurus head.
Have
Just
not
has a-
seen that
like a
option.
neck.
Like a really long
neck
neck
so you
and
can just
head.
fucking bite
It's like, so
everything.
it doesn't need the stupid little arms. Now it uses its head for everything.
Or kind of already did, but I get what you're saying. You want to be able to like reach in a window and eat someone.
Right.
Yeah.
So overall, I think it's fun, and there's a lot more going on than it seems at first. But it is also the kind of thing where if you're managing the park responsibly, nothing exciting happens.
Yeah. Okay.
So that is a risk. What do you guys think?
I think it's this to me. This is one of those games you wait for it to go on sale,
Okay.
and like
You think like a $30 game? or
$30
something?
game,
Yeah.
perfect $30 game. Yep.
I'm not gonna make a recommendation just because I'm not management sim kind of guy. But yeah, it's a game.
All right, fair. Well, shall we talk about the news?
Let's do it.
All right, couple different things happening in the news. So the creator of Uncharted, Amy Hennig, has left EA following the cancellation of the visceral Star Wars project she was working on. It turns out she departed quite some time ago, like
Yeah,
6
6
months
months.
ago, basically right after the
January.
cancellation. They were like, all right.
I thought they had announced it initially back then. I was surprised that we're just finding out about this now.
Well, they announced the cancellation and that they were going to be reworking assets and stuff. I don't think they said anything specific about what she was doing, but it was widely expected that she would leave
Yeah.
because,
That-
well, they just canned her project. This whole thing has been such a weird series of decisions. I don't know why EA decided to bring on the creator of Uncharted and then get upset that she was creating a linear story-driven experience.
Again, that's the outside perspective.
It is the outside perspective, but they did say that the reason that they were canceling it is it wasn't going to have longevity. Like it was going to be too much of a linear, single-player-driven experience where their focus is on
Couldn't create a
games
service
as
out
a
of it.
service.
Right. No, for
Man,
no ongoing microtransactions or revenue streams.
What a
Basically.
bummer, dude.
Yeah.
What a huge bummer. Like, well, I wish EA did not have the Star Wars license because they've
Well-
not done anything good with it, and they had a chance with Amy Hennig and let that go. I mean,
She's had a bad run lately after like not getting ousted over at Naughty Dog, and now the Star Wars game getting canceled, and not being able to see that through.
Yeah, it's
She-
been rough for sure. On the bright side, I guess, now that she's cut loose from EA, she can go work on something that doesn't have their kind of oversight.
I think she made some comments regarding VR. I don't remember what they were. I think she might be considering working with VR.
Okay, here we go. Yes, she is looking into VR. There is this for her next project. Specifically, she said, following the announcement of the split, she said, I just started my own small little independent studio and I'm consulting with some people. I'm hoping to bring in some people on board. Would love to have a little company of about 6 to 8 people, 15 at the most, and do some more projects, do some VR stuff. I'm consulting with some VR companies and doing a ton of research because I haven't played a lot to immerse myself in it. So that's where that's coming from. Is that's she is
Interesting.
looking into it.
I'm curious what she would make in a VR situation.
Especially with a small studio, because what you know her for are like big
Yeah.
AAA first-party games. It doesn't sound like what she's building is that direction at all, though.
No, but there are a lot of story-driven experiential games that are made with small studios. If you were to look at I mean, obviously not as action-oriented as what she has been doing, but like the Gone Homes of the world are made with small teams. And that's the kind of experience that could be cool in VR as well.
Yeah, I think that would have been an awesome game in VR.
Yeah, well, I'm pretty sure it was the Gone Home creator who was like, never be in VR. Or maybe Firewatch, let me look that up.
So yeah, I looked it up, and Amy Hennig has not had a game published since 2011. She worked on Uncharted 4 for 2.5 years before she left that project, and then worked on the Star Wars game for 3.5 years. That's 6 years of work, and then
For nothing.
Yeah. I mean, Uncharted 4
Really
did
Star
come out,
Wars.
but yeah, that wasn't.
But she worked on it, though.
Yeah, that wasn't. Ultimately, I don't think she was credited as director for that game.
That's rough.
Yeah, so I think some of her work made it through, but not all of it. The game obviously takes longer than 2.5 years, so someone else probably stepped in and also did that work. So yeah, it's hard to spend 6 years and really not have like a big thing to show for it.
The Visceral project looked interesting too. It was going to be kind of an offshoot Star Wars game, like not a Skywalker family saga, and it just seems like still Star Wars, if it's video games or movies, they can't seem to move on and kind of branch off.
How long do they have the license for?
It was 10 years. I think they have it through 2023, 2024,
when I'm
something like
40, we'll start seeing good Star Wars games again, maybe. Fuck, man.
And it looks like it was Campo Santo. It was the Firewatch guys that were saying they have no plans to do any VR support for that. So
That's interesting. Especially, have you seen Will Smith, not the actor, but the person formerly from Tested? He has a VR podcast, and I think one of the first things that they did was set up a VR podcast in the Firewatch lookout tower.
That's a great podcast.
yeah, that's cool.
Yeah, and then they show like the developers looking at assets in a way they weren't expecting.
Right.
It's like they never expected anyone to look at the stuff in that context. It's really, really fascinating.
It's really
to watch.
cool.
Yeah.
So would be curious to see what you could do, but clearly you can do some cool experiences with small teams. Although I think her stuff that she's done before, I would like to see more of that action, a couple of set pieces, but those are going to be difficult with a team of 15, which I understand. So best of luck to her, and yes, hopefully someday more Star Wars stuff. Because let me see. Gus, did you look up the length of the?
It'll be 2024.
Okay, 2024.
Yikes. So start development in
while.
2025 or so.
Yeah.
Or you could start early on speculation and hope you get it.
Start making your fan Star Wars game.
Well, there was some talk. There was a lot of pressure from people to
There's the
asking. Oh, in VR, cool. Asking Disney to basically revoke the Star Wars license, which I get would be difficult for them to do.
There was even a Change.org petition. So
Really?
You know,
Yes,
No
you know,
way.
serious.
Like, I mean, that'll never happen.
But I get the feeling that Disney could have exerted some pressure, but I think that getting out of that contract would be difficult.
I think best case scenario is that there are more Star Wars games than we know about already in production or development, and in a couple years they'll be like, hey, surprise, we have this, and next year we'll have this, and that would be great. Do that.
Well, we know
For the love
Respawn's
of
working
God.
on something.
Sounds like it's going to be pretty early. You can be a Jedi in that game, in the Respawn game.
Yeah, it was a little awkward at E3. We was just sitting in the audience, and she was like, so how are things? Well, you can be a Jedi, not willing to say more.
Yeah, you can be a Jedi.
Great interview.
Yeah.
Thanks, yeah.
It was
Good
like, why
lightsabers.
are you talking about it?
Right.
Yeah.
But, well, fingers crossed. But while we're talking about the whole single-player game thing, there was, let me find it, there were some tweets that went around over the weekend and this morning.
You have a lot of tabs open.
I have a lot of tabs open at all times. And this was that Ubisoft is also, and this has been going on for a while, but they're just sort of reiterating that they're moving away from what they call finite experiences, which is the single-player story that's basically anything that's not games as a service.
Right.
And following on that, Matt Piscatella who is an industry analyst for MPD Group, said that sales data of games suggests that the promise of unlimited gameplay results in higher sales than a finite story-based game, even if the perceived quality of the finite games are higher. And the majority of people that purchase a finite story-based game are likely to never finish it. There are exceptions like God of War, but those are outliers. And that a game promising unlimited gameplay sells more than a similarly reviewed story-based game at a higher average price.
So our wallets are speaking differently than our mouths are.
Yes,
And surprisingly, they're going to listen to our wallets.
exactly.
Well,
But that's also been the case with microtransactions, right? They are in games because they
People
work.
spend money, right?
Yes.
Yeah. If they weren't making money, or if single-player campaigns were making more money, then we'd be seeing more.
I wonder if we're going to see more Destiny-like experiences where you do have a single-player story that you can play alone, and that is a self-contained thing. But then also it is a multiplayer online game where you can not play infinitely, because Destiny's a poor example of that. But like what they're going for is like a game that you will continue to play.
Right.
Like, and
That seems kind of like what they're trying to do with Anthem.
From what we can tell, maybe?
Anthem
Yeah,
seems
well, Anthem's
different.
confusing.
Anthem seems like a single-player game with co-op available, because you're not seeing people in the wild. They haven't talked about like side quests or end game content or PvP or anything. It's just like, yeah, you're going to be able to invite your friends to play co-op. That's all they've
Their
said.
communication on that game has been kind of weird, kind of closed.
Yeah.
Which, like, up until E3 this year, we're like assuming that what they had said made it sound very Destiny style.
Yeah.
But that they were pulling back on that this year and saying, no, this is a narrative BioWare game, just also with friends.
So,
So I'm not sure what to think about the game at this point.
Mark Dara, who is executive producer on Anthem over at BioWare, I guess after the E3 presentation, someone tweeted at him and asked, can you confirm whether there will be PvP in Anthem? And he quote tweeted his reply and said, no PvP at launch.
Yeah. So that gives you an idea of where they're taking the game. But I think what I'm saying is that like I think I could see service games working if they aim for something that kind of is a meld of both. Like gives you the ability to still play the game as you want to play it. See a good story from start to finish alone or with a buddy. But then there's a larger game at play for if you want to continue to play it. But there's always going to be there's always going to be single player games. Like as long as there's companies like CD Projekt or whatever, we're always going to have, the Witchers of the world.
I hope so, because I like single player games.
So do I. Yeah.
And there are a couple studios that still bet big on single player. CD Projekt doing that with Cyberpunk as well.
But if you told me that Cyberpunk would also have multiplayer components, I would be excited and not bummed out.
And may at some point.
Yeah.
We know that it's not going to at launch, because that's what they've said, is that
they've left
they're-
that door
they're-
open.
Yeah.
Which
they've-
is great.
They've been a little bit vague about what their plans are for the game post-launch. I don't know if it's going to come as an expansion,
It'd be cool.
or
It'd
if
be cool
it's
if they
going
just
to be.
transition to another universe. All the NPCs are real players instead of and just like in Fallout.
Yeah, and Fallout
That's
also doing multiplayer, but along a similar line, Todd Howard said that doesn't mean that we're going away from single player games as a studio. We're still going to be doing single player stuff.
definitely seems like an experiment.
That Fallout 76 is the thing that would probably scare people away from this idea of games as a service, because it's moving so far away from what people want from a Fallout game.
But it's also not like a core numbered.
It isn't. But when you have the name Fallout, people are expecting something, and I think that's why there's so much divisiveness around this. And like, we obviously don't know exactly what the game is yet. We have ideas, and we have some knowledge, but like, I think that moving that far away is something that would scare people away from like, oh, there's no more single player games. It's all this bullshit survival, online only, get PvP killed, all that. So who knows?
We need to wait and see what happens when we get our hands on it. I think the same thing would have happened with Fallout Shelter if they'd announced it and then not released it for a couple of months. They'd be like, oh shit, they're just going to make shitty mobile games that are cash grabs now.
Oh, yeah.
Dude, Fallout Shelter was good.
Fallout Shelter ended up being good, and you didn't have to spend any money on it.
They
It was fine.
paired Fallout Shelter with the announcement of Fallout 4, though.
Yeah.
Which is like, there's a core Fallout game, and this little game.
Yeah,
as well.
which I'm seeing a lot more of, which is similar. So they announced Elder Scrolls Blades, and we're like, don't worry, Elder Scrolls 6 still coming.
Yeah.
With Pokemon, they were like, here's Pokemon, let's go. We know this isn't traditional. Don't worry, there's one coming next year that is.
Gears of War. Here's 2 untraditional games. One that you get mad about just by seeing it, and then there's a real game coming. Don't worry.
What, you mean the chibi one?
The Funko one.
The Funko Pop. Yeah.
The Gears Pop. Ugh.
Yeah,
is that
I'm
coming
not
out?
sure who asked for that. But
Funko did.
Their licensing deal.
is there anything they can't make adorable?
I don't know.
If there is,
They got a lot of goddamn money from those little.
so much.
Coming out 2019, I guess.
Really?
Yeah, and then we have nothing at all release-wise for Gears 5, which they're being very clear is not Gears of War 5, it's Gears 5.
It's weird.
I think they're trying to lead into Gears of Peace.
Yeah, it's not. There's
And
no
so
more
you
war.
have to have
Gears
a
of
transition.
This is Gears of diplomacy.
Just what you want in a game.
No.
Yeah.
it's
A model UN.
Yeah, say it's just diplomatic talks. It's a 100-hour campaign
You can
just gonna
storm
fist
out.
negotiations.
Yeah. Oh God.
Yeah, so I don't think we're going to lose single-player games, but there is, there's more and more people saying that the big studios aren't focusing on them.
Well, yeah, look at Fortnite. I mean, look at, GTA Online. I mean, all these, like, with no story.
Yeah, and all the best-selling games of all time, with the exception of, like, Tetris.
Yeah.
Most of them are multiplayer,
Right.
at least multiplayer optional games.
GTA is kind of a good example though because they built their online out of their single player,
and that was cool.
Their story mode is fantastic.
Right.
Like that's a great campaign.
Like, if
And you could
Cyberpunk,
just play that.
If Cyberpunk did that, that would be awesome.
Right.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't think we'll ever lose single player games, which is the good news. But if more games do start to go the way of something like a Destiny, and I know Destiny's not a great example because not everyone likes that game, but like the idea of that sort of game for me is awesome because you have options.
Yeah, that's fair. That's fair.
Like, I mean, yes, you could execute it way better, but like you still have the single player story. You still have the option to co-op it. You still have the option to roam around a world with friends. You have the option to
Well,
PvP.
and I wonder too if it just means that a lot of these single-player games will end up being first-party games, where a lot of the third-party publishers, they're doing multi-platform stuff. They're trying to do the big bets. Ubisoft, EA, they're sort of trying to get their games in front of as many people as possible, get the high sales and all that. Whereas platforms, they're also trying to bolster and fill in gaps with their lineups, I think. So specifically, I'm thinking of PlayStation. They've been doing a lot of focus on single-player stuff, and those games, one, by virtue of being a platform exclusive, will never sell as much as the big third-party games,
So those games move systems.
but they move
It's
systems.
almost like a prestige TV thing. Yeah, like something they can point to. Well, we've got Spider-Man,
Yeah.
we've got Detroit, we've got Uncharted. Nintendo, obviously, that's always what sets them apart. And yeah, the multi-plats just make all the money.
Yeah.
Yeah, so hopefully we'll at the very least see it kept alive with like PlayStation, Xbox, first-party shooters. Although Xbox, I don't know, they've always had such a focus on multiplayer themselves that may not end up being the case, but we shall see. Also, while we're talking about multiplayer stuff, and Bethesda in particular, Bethesda's calling out PlayStation over their crossplay. They said that Fallout 76 won't have crossplay because PlayStation is not as helpful as everyone would like, which is, I think, trying to put it quite delicately, but also being like, hey,
It's not us, it's them.
Yeah.
yeah, and so they're the latest studio.
PlayStation getting some bad press.
Well, it makes you wonder if bad Sony is back.
God, I hope.
Well, they're back in charge. Like, they're back, obviously, hands down dominating, so
Right.
they can do whatever they want to
Which
do.
is where bad Sony came from last time as well. It seems to go in like these cycles where you get, and to be fair, I think this kind of happened with Xbox this last generation as well, is they get going really well. They get a little bit big for their britches. They start making, they're like, let's make some visionary decisions that we want to make. And
Like, Xbox One would have been bad Microsoft, but
yes,
they
exactly.
totally fucked up.
Right. And so they're like, well, you know, really people have no choice. We're the market leader. Like let's lean on that. Let's put the pressure on and make things happen the way we want the things to happen. And they're PlayStation's #1 this generation, so it seemed like they might be sort of leaning in that direction again. Whereas when they were not as strong last generation, they were being a little bit scrappier about the whole thing, and it worked out really well for them.
I think this happens to all of them. I think power corrupts. Like Microsoft did it, Nintendo were dickheads back in the day of NES and Super NES. I just think once they get the big platform, they have such short memories that they all of a sudden just think they're the be-all, end-all. They don't want to play with other people. And
no incentive to.
Yeah, but it's always at the expense of the players, and I think it always comes back and bites them in the ass. And I mean, Sony was fine with crossplay a generation ago, and they did it with PS2,
and
PS3.
Xbox was not.
Yeah,
last
right.
generation.
And I think you always pay the price, and then it seems like, mainly out of a business decision, it's better for Microsoft and Nintendo to kind of team up against big bad Sony. But
which again, they also did. Remember that it was a marketing campaign for Xbox 360 and Wii.
Oh,
It was the Wii 60 campaign, where.
Yep.
Remember, this was when Peter Moore was at Microsoft and was doing a whole bunch of being like, hey, you can get an Xbox 360 and a Wii for the price of a PS3. Why would you get that? Don't be ridiculous. And so, yeah, it feels like it's sort of a return to that.
Yeah.
They have such little in common in terms of how they were competing in that time because it's all such different games. It's awesome. But, I mean, they also do that. They're doing that Minecraft thing.
Yeah, so they got the Minecraft crossplay.
Yeah, and they're also they're hamming that up.
Oh,
Did
yeah.
you see on
That
Twitter?
trailer they put out?
Yeah. Not just that, they're on Twitter. They were
Tweeting at
like,
each other.
hey, do you want to go play some Minecraft? And the other guy's like, oh, yes, we could play and build stuff together, us as friends. It's really goofy, dude.
But it should be that way because to ask people to buy a whole new system just to play with their friends, I think is ridiculous. I mean, you're talking about spending hundreds and hundreds of dollars, and especially when you're a kid and you sort of depend on your birthdays and the holidays to get new stuff. I don't know. I just think it's shitty to divide the player base like that. When you don't need it. You don't need to be like that.
It is, but for PlayStation, they look at it like this.
Totally, I get it.
We've got 70 million units
Yep.
sold. That means we've got a player base of 70 million people. If someone wants to play with one of those 70 million people, they need to become 70 million in
Yeah,
one.
absolutely.
What is that?
It's also, Nintendo announced the new Minecraft-themed 2DS that they're releasing, I believe, this summer.
That's okay. Do you want to
Whoa.
It looks like a creeper.
It's also like
I kind of
bumpy.
want it.
Am I gonna have to buy another fucking 2DS?
I kind of look. I'm not like I said. My 3DS is in storage, but I kind of want to buy this anyway. That is really, really cute.
But so, they're just totally further getting in bed together about this stuff.
But to some degree, also, I think it's partially due to Xbox needing to be scrappier. Nintendo's doing great. I mean, they've already outsold their entire Wii U lifespan, but Wii U's got them feeling scrappy as well, probably.
Yep.
And so it's partially that, partially leadership change. Both Microsoft and Xbox have had a leadership change in that we went from Steve Ballmer to Satya Nadella, and we went from Don Matrick to Phil Spencer. And that's created a pretty huge shift in Xbox's focus, I think. Phil Spencer's been like, hey, let's focus on backwards compatibility. Let's focus on play anywhere. Let's focus on cross-play. Did I say backwards compatibility already? Game Pass. So
it's the best part. So it's worth mentioning twice.
He's very game service focused, and also accessing your games from anywhere focused.
I just wonder what's the danger in pissing off your players. I think goodwill is important, and I think if you get that reputation of being sort of the evil empire, I don't know. I think that could come back and hurt you. Maybe not immediately, but next generation.
I mean, I think, like you said, they go in that.
Yeah.
And they all go in that roller coaster.
Right. Nobody's hands are clean.
The PS3 was terrible, and it was a bad system, and the way they sold it was bad, and they paid
It was a great
for
system. It was just expensive.
It was expensive.
You can't come out with
$600.
$600.
Great system.
had some great games.
It was fine. I thought it was fine as a system.
It looked amazing. The graphics were way better than 360.
You're right. And it was just $600.
It was just
launch.
fucking expensive.
It was a lot.
And it was like a pain to develop for, too.
Yeah.
Yeah, cell
that was the big
processing is the
problem.
new.
The cell.
Yeah, it's the new thing.
Yeah, but that was another thing that they dropped a lot of after launch on the PS3. Like,
Right.
try finding a PS3 with a motion engine, or the motion chip.
Yeah,
That was what they had for the backwards compatibility, right? So there are some PS3s that are backwards compatible, and
It's
then
the
Yes.
fat units were the only backwards compatible ones, and everything after that, when they're like, okay,
the Spider-Man unit.
I got a
system is-
fatty.
Yeah, our system's too big.
Yeah,
Those things were cool, and also fingerprint magnets.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure I have a Spider-Man around somewhere.
I like those because you can twist the PS4 logo or the PS3 logo, PlayStation logo.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, because you stand it vertically, so you want to make it look like it's vertical.
Ah.
Like, duh.
Oh, that's cool.
I like it. But yeah, really interested to see if something happens. I get it. It's goodwill. If they go, all right, fine, we will allow it. That is a measure of goodwill. It can be spent once.
Yeah, exactly.
After that, it becomes the norm, and then it's just expected.
Yeah.
And if you take it away again, then you're the bad guy
Right.
again.
Right.
Yep.
Whereas if you just don't get it, people will sort of like accept it as par for the course.
Yeah.
Not happy about it, maybe.
Right.
But you're not taking away something. That's like
That
another.
they already had.
Do you think that Microsoft is going to come out with a how do you play your games with your friends that are on different consoles video?
Oh my God! You know what? That
Kind of like that PlayStation.
So, yeah, it was after the Xbox One reveal, and they were talking about the digital lending, but you were gonna have to do the 24-hour online
God. It sounds like
check-ins
such
for
a pain
Xbox.
in the ass.
You know, it was sort of like it was not an elegant solution.
That is
But then-
probably the reason
killed
the
the
Xbox
system.
did so bad.
Yeah.
But then
Absolutely.
PlayStation, they came out with that, like, how do you lend games to a friend? And, like, you had one person hand the disc to
Yep.
another person. That's great and everything, but you know what that doesn't solve? Digital fucking lending. That was just being cheeky to be cheeky, which, let's be clear, it was cheeky and kind of funny.
like cheeky.
But it also wasn't actually addressing digital lending.
Well, but it was
They're not
addressing.
exactly
it was addressing
ahead in that.
It was addressing the fact that games would not have licenses like the way they were talking
Right,
about.
you wouldn't have to have internet connectivity
when the
for that.
Xbox One was announced, they were like, you're not going to be able to have used games anymore, which was a fucking nightmare, and it's the reason the system it tanked.
Well, between that and also that their reveal was focused on TV.
Yeah.
I get that
You
they were
needed to
trying to
have the connect.
save. Yeah, I get that they were trying to save all the game stuff because E3 was a couple weeks later, and they're like, "We'll have a big E3 and talk about games." But what it looked like when they announced it was, look, a TV box.
One day they'll have an E3 where they talk about games. One day.
One day, someday.
I'm just down.
Yeah,
I'm
no,
just
it was
down.
like they were selling a TiVo.
They had a
Like
good,
that.
they had a good E3 presentation
It's all right.
this year.
Yeah.
That showed a lot of games.
They showed a lot of games.
They had a good-
a lot of world premieres.
Yeah, a lot of world premieres.
Stuff that I'm going to play other
I got to
places.
see
You
those
can get
games.
them elsewhere. but
Right.
They showed a lot of
We
them.
got to see it there first.
Yeah.
But regardless, it was a good presentation. As far as overall flow went, let's just say I preferred it to PlayStation's this year,
Yes.
because that one was all kinds of broken up. But I hope that Microsoft and Nintendo kind of teaming up, because I feel it's like Sony does kind of look like a bad guy here. I hope that it re-energizes their sort of scrappy pro-consumer approach that's worked pretty well for them.
Agreed.
I don't want bad Sony back. I want Sony to be good Sony.
Yeah. This all be good boys.
Be good boys. All right. I think that about does it for this episode of Glitch Please. But if you're a Rooster Teeth First member, we will also have a new Game Plus exclusively on our website for First members. If you are not a Rooster Teeth First member, you can sign up for a free 7-day trial. You'll get access to all of our First exclusive content. So we've got post shows for all of the different podcasts. We've got a couple First exclusive series, stuff like Day 5. You get early access to all our animated shows. We got some really cool documentaries. Gus has one where he went around to a bunch of crazy conventions. That's really
Just
fun.
conventions. You don't have to say crazy.
Unconventional.
Just conventions.
Just conventions. And so there's a lot of fun stuff to check out. You can do that by signing up at our website, roosterteeth.com. If you're not a First member, that's also, that's totally fine. And we'll see you next week for more Glitch Please.